homeschool my kids. I'm sure you've heard me tell you that a whole bunch of times, but I wanted to talk about something that almost every single homeschooling parent has ever faced right from the beginning before they even started homeschooling. I'm here to tell you that homeschooling is not as scary as you think it is. I know you're scared, but you don't have to be. So like I said before, pretty much every single homeschooling parent has gone through this. Everybody is scared because you are going to be carrying the full weight and responsibility of your child's education. That's a heavy weight to carry, but you are fully capable of it. When I started considering homeschooling, our family felt desperate. We were put in a very bad situation, and the school was really butting heads with us, and they weren't getting our son the help he needed. I've probably not said this before, but our son, he is ADHD. He is likely on the autism spectrum, and at the time, I don't want to call him gifted because I don't think that he was gifted, but he was far ahead. So this was just kindergarten. He was already reading, I would say at a first grade level at the time. The school would not accommodate him. They would not challenge him, and I probably could have pursued legal action. However, I just didn't want to put my family through that, and I just felt it would serve us better if we just homeschooled at home. I was terrified. I was angry. I was sad. I was scared. And this was all going around during Christmas, break time, winter break. The school, they kind of just left us hanging. That was the worst winter vacation I've ever had in my life, out of even when I was a child. Because we were supposed to take care of some major issues that were going on, and they just said, sorry, we're clocking out, bye. It wasn't the last day. Okay, it was the last week. It's can we get this resolved before break? No, because they're just it's not my problem. Our family was just scared, upset, terrified, and angry with how we were treated. We were very, very mistreated throughout the whole process. So that week and a half of winter break, I decided to pursue looking into homeschooling, and I found as much homeschooling information as I could. I went to the local homeschool organization in our state. I really looked at a lot of success stories, and that was what I needed, because I didn't come from a homeschooling family. I didn't know any homeschoolers, really. All I knew was the stereotypes that had been said about them, and so I didn't know if this could really work or if it could be successful. So hearing from the veteran moms where their kids are, that they've got college graduates, that they're making 6 figures a year, some 7 figures a year, some went on to get their master's or their PhD or whatever. It really helped. It was just success story after success story after success story. And that really helped quell my fear. So I want to backtrack a little bit, because there's a few really common fears that I was having, even well into, I would say, the first 2 years of homeschooling. I still had some fears. They would just pop up every once in a little while. They don't really pop up anymore. But the first 2 years, this is what I experienced, but I've also heard that this is the same fears that other moms and dads have felt over and over and over again. So number one is that you're not qualified. You're terrified that you're not qualified. That is probably not true. There's a very slim chance that you're not qualified. But I'll tell you, if you graduated from high school, you are more than qualified. Even if it's in my state, where you are required to have a certain amount of college credits, close to almost an associate's degree, just shy of an associate's degree. Or you could take a course on homeschooling. That course option is there for a reason, and it's to help the people that have a high school diploma. Because truth be told, the people that have an associate's degree are not any more qualified than a high school graduate to teach high school level material. So yeah, you can jump through your legal hoops, but if you went through high school, chances are you know that material. It's still in your head. It's still kind of dormant in there. And when you are reteaching your child how to do it, you're going to remember, and you're going to be able to teach them better as well. So just know, you are qualified. You can do this. You are not dumb. You are smart. You know everything you need to know to teach your kid. You're going to have help. You're not going to be alone. You're going to have written curriculums written by professionals They tell you step by step what to do. And even if you're just reading out of a regular old book, you can read that book with your child and you'll learn with your child. And it'll kind of be a family bonding time. I love history, and now my son loves history. That's not a coincidence. It's because we spent time learning together, and he's going to have that his whole life. He's going to associate history with his mom. It's a really wonderful thing, guys. I don't know about you, but over the last few years, I've seen lines popping up on my face that I don't recognize. They've shown up here and there. One in particular, it was actually right up here, got particularly large. And I absolutely hated it. I knew I had to do something. But I really hated the idea of Botox. Needles alone are just and toxins, it doesn't jive with me. So I was really excited to try Frownies. Frownies are a non-invasive, all-natural solution to smoothing fine lines and wrinkles. They are little paper patches that stick to your skin to create a cast. This cast decreases muscle movement and prevents actions that would contribute to creasing over time. Over an extended amount of time, this allows your skin to actually begin to heal. I've actually been using Frownies for a little over 2 years now, and I'm very, very, very happy with my results. Both my forehead lines and the 11 lines, which are the vertical ones that, make you look like you're angry all the time, they're virtually non-existent these days. The key here to really get Frownies to work is actually consistency, time, and patience. So if you want to get started on smoothing those fine lines and wrinkles, then go ahead and click on the link in the description below or visit ohheyitsrae.com/frownies to get $10 off your first purchase of $50 or more. So the second objection or fear that is most common, and that I would say I hear more than anything else, so much that homeschooling parents are incredibly sick of it. It is the number one thing ever. And it is the fear that they're going to miss out or lack socialization. While that is possible, you would have to try very hard to neglect your child for that to even happen, because children get socialization all the time. You go out, you see extended family, you see cousins, you see sisters, brothers. That is actually socialization, and you learn how to socialize with other people. You also have plenty of opportunities to go out into the world for special events that you would any other time. A lot of cities or towns, they'll host social gatherings for children. They'll have dances. They'll have special trunk or treat events or festivals or Santa parades. Then there's also classes you can sign up your kid for. Just like any public schooler kid might take karate or ballet or something along the lines of that. And finally, this is a big one that a lot of people who are unfamiliar with homeschooling don't talk about, but it's homeschool co-ops. And those are groups you can join together where you kind of take turns teaching each other's children, and you work together as a group. And that's another way you can kind of get a more formal session that way. But I will be frank with you, most homeschooling parents aren't keen on teaching a formal sit at a desk, do your paperwork kind of situation. Most homeschool parents, they really like hands-on learning, I could really get into all the different methods. I'm not going to do that right now. But the standard public school experience is actually the opposite of what most homeschool parents seek for their children. I hope you know that there are so many opportunities, I would say more opportunities than normal, to have your child socialize, because sitting in a classroom 6 hours a day, sitting at a desk, not allowed to talk, is actually not socialization. And if children's experiences are anything like mine was when I was a kid, the little bit of time I did get to socialize, I was bullied quite a bit. And that really wasn't worth it. There's so many things you can seek out in your area. Socialization is not a problem if you seek it out, and the opportunities are there, I promise you. And finally, this kind of ties in with the socialization that I just talked about, but I felt so much guilt over this when I was homeschooling my son after I pulled him out. Keep in mind, I pulled him out kind of in the middle of COVID, so I did not have opportunities the way that you do now because everything was shut down and you couldn't meet face to face, really. But back then, I was feeling so much guilt because we had to pull my kid out of school, and then we had the COVID stuff going on. And so he was missing out. I felt, that's the key word there. I felt like he was missing out on the experience of classroom parties, like Halloween parties or fall parties or Valentine's Day mailboxes on desks and things like that. I had a really hard time getting over that. I felt like he was missing out so much. But the truth is, he didn't know that world. And so he wasn't missing it. It was just me. It was me feeling like he was missing out on something that I got to experience. But that wasn't necessarily better. Now, that said, I did go out of my way to have our own little parties at home. And we were able to do that. And now I don't feel guilty at all. But I do take my son out to social gatherings, trunk or treats. Some might call it mom guilt. I don't know what kind of guilt that is. But it was, I don't know, there was something inside me that I wanted my child to have the same experiences I had growing up. But he's a different person, so he doesn't need those same experiences. I can give him new experiences that are still fun, that still celebrate holidays, and that he still gets to socialize around other children and have that fun that children can have. It does not have to be exactly the same as the school experience. So I hope that you understand what I was kind of getting at here, because there really are, first of all, there's nothing to really be afraid of. And we know this because the trailblazers from the homeschool movement about 40, 50 years ago, they left a blueprint and they left it for us, and they want to help us, and they're out there to help us. We know exactly what we can do, and we know that it's successful. So there's really nothing to be afraid of. There's also the homeschool community, which is made up of a ton of amazing moms who also want to help. Everybody wants to help each other because we want the next generation of children to be the most successful that they can be in their education and in their life. Especially with the internet these days, man, it's totally different than it was. And I'm so blessed to be able to do this now, because we have tons of online communities. Most states have their own homeschool organizations filled with parents that want to help you homeschool. There's online forums. Chances are, if you aren't sure about something, or if you have a question about something, somebody else has had that question too. So you can just search for in one of the local homeschool forums, or just do even a Google search, and you will probably be able to find the answer. And there were times, definitely, that I had to reach out to the community for help. And I'm so glad that I did. And it was just such a relief to feel like that there was somebody in my corner. So I hope that everything I've said today has helped you know that you can do this. That there are countless stories of successful children. You can do it. There's no reason to be afraid. And I actually want to leave you with something that one of the moms in the homeschool community said to me. She's actually a member of the board of the local homeschool organization. So she's actually like a 20-year veteran of homeschooling. Likewise, she also had to remove her child from public school for similar issues that I was having with my child. She loves to say, and if you think about it, it's kind of true, that you don't have anything to worry about, because you cannot mess this up any more than the public schools would mess it up. Because public schools are not perfect. We know that from the statistics. We know that from our own personal experiences with them. Even when I went to school, they were not perfect. They did not get everything right. And you are not going to mess your child up or your child's education up any worse than the public school would have. In fact, you have so much more invested in your child than the public school would ever. And so you have so much more invested in the success of your child. You will probably do 1,000,000 times better. So please, don't be afraid. You can do this too.